Yes, Chiranjeev, we'll start after 10 minutes at 2:30. And I welcome Mr. Nicholas, who has already joined us.
Sure, ma'am.
And
Sure. Nicholas, sir, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
yes, sir, you are audible.
Perfect.
Good afternoon, Dr. Sachi.
Good afternoon, Kumudi. Hope you are good.
Yes, sir, thank you. And I'm glad to inform that Mr. Nicholas has also joined us.
Hello,
Oh,
Dr.
wow,
Sachi.
wonderful.
Hello.
Hi, Nicholas.
Hey, hello.
Hi. How are you?
I'm very well. And yourself?
Excellent. Excellent.
Nice.
Very, very pleased to have you here.
I'm very, very excited to be here as well. When I present, I'll turn on my
Yeah.
video.
Sure. Chiranjeev, are you there?
Yes, sir. I'm right there.
Great. Okay, this is you. All right. So in what time should I begin?
Anytime
5
after.
minutes?
Yeah, anytime after 2:30.
Pardon?
Anytime after 2:30, sir. It's 2:26 right now. We can begin at 2:30.
All right. All right. All right.
I request the students to please come up with their original names. Only the class or the year will not do.
Chiranjeev, do we have Madhurima ma'am?
Yes, sir. She's there.
She is there?
Yes.
Okay,
Hello.
great. Good afternoon, ma'am. How are you?
Good afternoon. I'm fine. Hello, Dr. Sachi. How are you?
Excellent, ma'am. I'm good, ma'am. I'm good. We'll be beginning in 2 minutes.
Yes, sure.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Do we have Engineer Kamlesh Tiwari with us?
Yes, sir, I'm there.
Arey, wow. Great. Superb.
Thank you.
Superb. Get back to you in 4 minutes, sir.
Okay, okay.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is an absolute pleasure to welcome you all to the annual meet on behalf of Counseling and Guidance Cell, University of Lucknow. It is done in association with the Department of Applied Science and Humanities and Department of Mechanical Engineering, Faculty of Engineering Technology, University of Lucknow. Now I would request Engineer Kamlesh Tiwari to welcome all the guests and authorities and set the tone for the event in general and today's session in particular. Sir.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Sabyasachi. It gives me immense pleasure to be here and introduce this event to all of you. And excluding the moderator to address this. Let me take this opportunity to welcome Professor Madhurima Pradhan, Director, Counseling and Guidance Cell, University of Lucknow, Mr. Nicholas Comerlato, Vice President, BlackRock, London, UK, Dr. Smita Srivastav, Assistant Professor, Ascent, Amity University, Lucknow, Ms. Kaumudi Singh, Assistant Professor, and my colleague at Faculty of Engineering and Technology, University of Lucknow, my all other colleagues present in this meeting, and students to this session. This event will take place in 2 sessions, one today and the another tomorrow with 2 themes. First one will be life skills and career growth, the theme for today, and second one will be developing resilient future employees for tomorrow. This event has been organized to mark the successful completion of 1 year of its existence of our university's counseling and guidance cell, formed under the visionary and able guidance of our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Sir, and Professor Madhurima Pradhan. We are really thankful to both of you for the same. This 1-year-old cell has reached many milestones of successes in such a short span of time, as evident from the newspaper reports coming from time to time. This cell was formed when it was needed the most because of the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, to serve as a ray of hope to students going through these tough times, just like a lighthouse guiding sailors sailing across turbulent and troubled waters. This cell works with a mission to support, value, and challenge the students of University of Lucknow to develop their full potential, psychological immunity, and skills to thrive in the challenging situations of life. The vision of our counseling and guidance cell is to accelerate the transition from old education policy to new education policy 2020, which aims at creating world-class multidisciplinary institutions. As we know that the recent new educational policy 2020 has brought many changes in our education system. The NEP 2020 has itself advocated the formation of such cells for handling stress and emotional issues among the students. The cell functions at 2 levels. The first level, it deals with the psychotherapy and counseling services to promote mental health of students. And at the second level, it takes into account the career guidance of students in making and implementing informed educational and occupational choices. The first service provides an opportunity to students to address their mental health issues and other issues like anxiety, anger, improper sleep, domestic violence, relationship issues, fear, depression, etc. So far as the career counseling is concerned, as we know, successful career building is a slow process, and making the choice of a suitable career is very important. Knowing one's self-interest, strengths, personality, and other capabilities in the early phase itself facilitates successful career building by the students. Now, let me give a brief introduction of the theme of today's event, that is life skills and career growth. Today's online session on life skills and career growth revolves around 10 core life skills as identified by WHO, that is the World Health Organization, namely self-awareness, empathy, critical thinking, creative thinking, decision-making, problem-solving, interpersonal skills, effective communication, coping with stress, and managing emotions. Thus, the discussions may revolve around, but are not confined to the following topics: resilience, emotional intelligence, interpersonal skills, cross-cultural sensitization, time management, decision-making ability, technical savviness, communication, and acceptance of feedback to improve. Thank you all, and over to Dr. Sabyasachi.
Thank you, sir. The Counseling and Guidance Cell was constituted last year in order to provide a helping hand to those students who feel anxious about growth, career, projects, future prospects, higher studies, or any other aspect they wish to talk about. In past 1.5 years, students have suffered a lot, from being confined within a fixed perimeter to not being able to channel students feel limited in some way. CGC, in association with all the departments of the varsity, this year's meet online. Would invite Professor Madhurima Pradhan, Director CGC, to the forum and request her to tell us about the mission of and deliver the keynotes.
Hello. Am I audible? Hello.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. May I say a few words, because the voice of Dr. Sabyasachi is not clearly audible.
Sure.
Yes, ma'am, you could proceed.
May I continue? Okay.
Yes, I'm sure.
And thank you so much, Dr. Sabyasachi, Dr. Kamlesh Tiwari, and Department Faculty of Engineering and Technology for organizing this webinar. And I must congratulate the organizing team for this program, Department of Applied Science and Humanities, Department of Mechanical Engineering, for organizing this wonderful topic. And as it was said by Engineer Kamlesh Tiwari, that this cell functions at 2 levels. And I would like to correct that we have not completed yet 1 year. It is our first inception year, and we try to connect with our students offline, but we just found that we are not able to connect as many students as we want. And that's why we just formulated a program schedule for each and every department. And the webinar started from 16th June. And I'm very happy for all departments and our Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, for giving me an opportunity to connect with more than 2,000 students within the university, because each and every department is holding webinar on such a wonderful topics, which are not only for their own benefit, for self-benefit, but also for building their career. And the topics chosen here are life skills and career growth. The resilient future employees. Both of the topics are very much relevant, because they cover both of the levels of the vision of counseling and guidance cell. On one hand, it covers the career, and on other hand, the life skills. And as we all know, that life is a journey, And career development is a very important milestone of life. But usually what happens, we just, students try to focus simply on building their degree and diploma. They just invest their energy and time just getting the degree and diploma which they are pursuing. But in this effort, few most important things which are very much necessary for being a successful person in life, being a happy person in life, because all our life goals, all of our efforts, all the hustle and bustle of life are there for becoming happy and successful in life. But what this success is and how we can achieve it, we just miss out in this journey of attaining degree and diplomas. It is very difficult to navigate the complexities of life, especially during the globally competitive information age. When we just focus simply on our academic qualifications, we just miss out several life skills, just like how to make a balance between work and life, how to navigate between the success and the failures, because it happens that not only every time we may succeed, we have to face the failures. So we have to become resilient. How we can deal positivity with different criticism, different setbacks, how we can form a team, how we can tolerate the differences among people, how we can create an environment of praise and gratitude and commitment, how we can motivate not only ourselves but with our colleagues. So how to remain positive and how to lead an effective life, how to deal with uncertainty. And this Corona period has taught us to make a reflection on what is more important in life. So any degree, any diploma, any materialistic possessions, or something else. So this is a time to reflect upon very important aspects of our life, which can help us to develop navigation easily and develop certain life skills. And I'm very happy that the today's speakers are here, Mr. Nicholas, Dr. Smita Srivastava, Dr. Kaumudi Singh, and I welcome you all on this platform. And one more thing I would like to share, and I must say thanks to Faculty of Engineering and Technology, because Dr. Anupam Tripathi is the coordinator of Counseling and Guidance Cell, and I very proudly say that the logo of Counseling and Guidance Cell has been designed by this Faculty of Engineering and Technology, especially Dr. Anupam Tripathi. So I'm very much thankful to this faculty and for organizing this program, and will not take much time and will hand over to you for further proceedings of the webinar. Thank you so much. Over to you, Mr. Kamlesh Tiwari. Sir Sachin. Yeah.
It was really nice to hear from you, ma'am.
I think there is certain network issues.
Sir, we couldn't hear you properly.
If the resource persons have joined, any one of you, Kaumudi ji or Dr. Kamlesh Tiwari, anyone can introduce the speakers and continue the webinar.
Thank you, ma'am. Meanwhile, sir will join in. I'll take the charge, being the part of Applied Science and Humanities, University of Lucknow. Thank you, Dr. Sarvasati, sir, for introducing me. Without sharpen your weapon, standing on the battlefield would not increase your chance of winning. This analogy goes well with the concept of today's session, which is on life skills and career growth. A very good afternoon to all the dignitaries, faculty members, and students who have gathered virtually on the Zoom platform to discuss on today's session's topic, which is life skill and career growth. I would like to extend heartfelt regards to Professor Madam Madhurima Pradhan, Counseling and Guidance Cell, Coordinator FOAT, Professor R.S. Gupta sir, and the departmental in charges of Applied Science and Humanities and ME, Mechanical Engineering, Dr. Anupam sir and Kamlesh sir, respectively. To start off, I would like to share a PPT on the topic. Chiranjeev, please enable me sharing the PPT. Life skills is a set of cognitive, personal, and interpersonal strength that position young people for success in their lives and livelihoods, which actually associates it with career growth and development. If I talk of career growth, it pertains to going up on the hierarchical ladder of an organization or firm in which you're working, whereas development talks about one's self-upgradation, which affects the bigger picture. Even UNICEF advocates that life skills should be the foundation of education, which focuses on behavioral changes, reinforcement, and eventually shows up as better health conditions and upscaled career growth. There are basically three areas on which the life skill will dwell upon. One is knowledge, attitude, and the third one is skills. If we look back through the lens of culture and heritage, mythology, be it Greek or Indian, has a lot to offer. In Greek mythology, it's Prometheus who's attributed as the wise craftsman and taught humans many useful skills like navigation, writing, and architecture. I have a small anecdote from Indian Tiny Tales also, which is that once it was drought all over and the farmers were in distress. They went to Lord Indra for help and mercy, but he asked the farmers to approach Lord Shiv. They all went to Lord Shiv, and Shiv, being the Lord, tricked them by saying that I won't let it happen. I won't let rain happen until and unless I play my damru, which is a small instrument which Shiva used to play. They all were sad and disheartened to know that nothing will happen. So they stopped the art of cultivation. They stopped tilling and plowing their land. But strangely, one out of them was still doing the job of maintaining the farms. Everyone laughed at him. Lord Shiv was indifferent, but Goddess Parvati was watching all through. She decided to help the farmer out and asked Lord Shiv that, Lord, I wonder that if you don't play your damru, once you will forget the skill of playing it. Lord Shiv was taken aback and suddenly he took his damru and played it, and the rain happened. No one was benefited apart from the farmer who was still practicing his skills of plowing, tilling, cultivating, and maintaining the farms. So the crux of the story leads you to the fact that practicing skills, being consistent, and improving yourself will take you to a long way and land into better avenues. So I always feel that mythology could act as a reference of motivation, and I highly recommended for all the students as well. Coming to the agenda, which is life skills and career growth. There are 10 major life skills, which was stated by Kamlesh sir also, which is recommended by WHO. The first one is problem solving. The second one is decision making, critical thinking, creative thinking, self-awareness, empathy, interpersonal relationship, good communication, stress management, and emotion management. You will see that it actually overlaps, that we have certain other skills, for example, soft skills, which will come under this category. Even you could see that the aspect of emotional intelligence will come under the umbrella term life skills, which was given by Daniel Goleman in 1995, which has self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and relationship management. We have categories of life skills also for better understanding. For example, communication and interpersonal skills. We have negotiation skills, empathy building, which is different from sympathy, that treats person to a same level. We have cooperative and teamwork, as team building is also crucial. See, team building has different stages because people from different background will come together to make a team. So firstly, there is storming because people are not ready to gel up. Eventually, they cooperate, they understand each other because they are from different disciplines when they are working as a team. And then finally, we have the stages of transforming and performing, that the team will come up with flying colors. So all these attributes, whether it is decision making or team building or time management, all are crucial if we talk of life skills. Next, we have decision making or critical thinking skills. Decision making, if I talk about, we have three major models. For example, we have creative decision making model, which is highly unique. Then we have the intuitive one, where we use intuition to investigate the problem. And finally, the third one, which is the rational model, which is the classic one, and it talks about the classic decision-making model, which contemplates on all the possible solutions. Next, we have coping and self-management skills. For example, skills for increasing personal confidence, to take responsibility, to take the charge, make differences, to manage your feelings, and to manage stress. For stress management, I again have a formula for you all to share, that we have the concept of 4 A's, which is that we could either avoid the stressor. Stressor means the elements which are causing stress, or adapt to the environment. Or third A is alter the environment or situation as per your working. And finally, accept what all is going on, because acceptance leads to satisfaction and better working. Even time management is a crucial skill because it talks about eliminating all the distraction, because as students, you need to know that what are the distraction causing elements. You need to plan ahead, be a good planner, prepare yourself, and set priorities in your life. That will lead to better management skills. Next, I would like to stress upon how life skill is an imperative of career growth. Because if you are opting for inaction, that will eventually lead to career stagnation. For that, a very popular formula is hop, skip, and jump. That if you are working in an organization and if you move sideways to a similar job, you're opting for hopping, with an intent that the job will offer you better perspective in future. The next one is stay because you're promoted. That's the step of skipping. And the third one is change jobs into a more senior position, which comes under the category of jumping. So actually you need to opt out of these three to ensure that you are not opting for inaction or career stagnation to develop career-wise. Again, I would like to emphasize on the concept that there is difference between growth and development. Growth talks about going up in the hierarchical ladder of an organization or firm, whereas development talks about one's self-upgradation, which will affect the bigger picture. So there are certain ways to upscale the trajectory of your career growth. For example, by thinking for yourself. Even humanism or Renaissance Reformation has talked about bringing man in the center of the universe. That if you start putting yourself in the center of everything which goes in, then you will be able to draw a nice picture of yourself in coming future. Time management, as I said, by avoiding distraction and planning will help you to save time and focus on better aspects. Consider the consequences of your actions, because when you're wasting time, when you are binging on internet, you need to know that what repercussion it could make in future. Do your research that what you want for yourself in future. What's your passion? What will lead you into better avenues? Keep your mind active. For that, you could make a 1 year or a 5-year goal, because when we go for interviews, it is a very common question that where do you see yourself after 5 to 7 years? So to make a 5-year plan for yourself is very important. Apart from that, keep on maintaining a 1-year goal also, that I will opt for a short-term course this year, or I'll brush up my language, or I'll learn a new language, or I will work upon my current affairs or journal knowledge. That will enhance your personality, will give you confidence, and will result in better growth upscaling. Then speaking articulately and thoughtfully, for that we have elevator speech. That is a very nice activity for the students to practice the elevator speech, which advises you to speak or present an idea in the span of an elevator ride, which ranges from 30 seconds to 2 minutes. So if you're able to present yourself in a concise manner, your ideas in a concise manner, that will give you a boost in your personality and will help you perform better in interviews. And finally, choose a mentor or life coach. Life coach or mentor could be anyone, your teacher, your family members, your friend, or even yourself. Mentor, if I go back to the history, is the name of the person under which Telemachus was raised when his father went to the Trojan War in the Greek history. So mentor is actually the name of the goddess of wisdom, Athena. And it's very important to choose a mentor for yourself who will keep you in track. Next, life skills and career growth have a link of sustainability, that develop your skills in such a way that it helps you to maintain a sustainable career growth. Then we have a model of managing your career with life skills, that we need to assess, research, make decisions, take actions. And if the actions are not working, then you need to readjust and rework on your actions, and finally assess your pattern of working. So life skills can benefit you, your environment, and your employment. As an individual, it could help you to think and solve problems, to recognize the impact of your actions, to analyze options, and to develop a greater sense of self-awareness, which is again a part of emotional intelligence. For employment benefits, life skills will help you to understand the business environment in which you're going to work. Apart from that, it will facilitate team building. It will help you to manage time and stress in the professional domain. It will help you to adapt to the different roles, whether you are working as a team, whether you are a member of sales or production or management. You need to adapt as per the department. And finally, you need to lead by the influence. Finally, life skills has benefits for the world also, because when you develop negotiation skills, negotiation is different from bargaining. Bargaining has monetary aspects attached to it, whereas negotiation is a strategic deal in which the parties will agree to a solution of the issue which has been raised. So while developing negotiation skills, we resolve a lot of problems. We opt for the integrative approach and resolve resentment, which is prevalent in the organization. So these are the benefits if you work on your life skills. Class, this is a list of useful resources for skill development for all the students. You could take a screenshot that I have shared certain links for new advancements, for your language upgradation, few free sources for short-term courses, ebooks and libraries, which will offer a lot of free text and books for you to read and explore and increase the exposure of the language, and even learn a new language by the 2 links in the screen. That's all for today. I wish to listen the other speakers also. Before ending, I would like to say that in the life of Maharshi Panini, the father of Indian grammatology, I hope you all must be aware of his name. He was very unhappy by his life because he was the reason of his parents' disappointment, and he decided to commit suicide. He went to a well and he saw that women were fetching water by the help of a rope. He saw marks on the stone which has been trashed due to the rubbing of rope on the stone. He realized that if the soft material of rope can put marks on stone, why not my consistency can leave marks on my life? So we have a very great lesson to learn upon, and I request all the students to work on their consistency and practice skills so that they are better individuals. Thank you so much. I request Dr. Sabyasachi to please take over the session.
Thank you so much, Ms. Kaumudi ma'am, for your kind words and the information you shared to all of us. I hope I'm. Now, I would like to invite Nicholas Chivalado, CFA, Vice President at BlackRock, joining us from London. I invite him to the forum and request him to take forward the discussion.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, of course, we can hear you.
Okay, very good, very good. Hopefully I'm loud and clear. Thank you very much for the opportunity to come and speak with you all today. It's good to see a large number of people on the call. So hopefully you find what I say, interesting and helpful in terms of your own your growth and development, and how you're thinking about, how you take your life forward and progress and gain further life skills and further development in your future jobs. When I was thinking about what I would want to talk about here today, I think the most useful thing that I can provide is some of my own experiences, and so I'll be happy to talk you through what those have been and how I've been able to get into the position that I am in today. What I would say is that it probably took me a while to be able to feel comfortable and satisfied in terms of both my personal life and also my career and my job, and that's probably only been the case over the past, I would say, 3 years. So very much everybody's different in terms of the path that you take, in terms of the goals and objectives that you have, in terms of how you progress along both your personal and your career development, and there's no right or wrong solution or answer. It's just a matter of making sure that you approach things with a motivated, determined attitude, and take the challenges that life throws at you with a positive attitude. So what I would say is sort of maybe 4 key areas that I would think are relevant when we talk about life skills and career growth. One thing I would say is that in terms of your day-to-day life, be it professional, be it health, be it learning and development, really it should be a constant quest on a daily basis to want to get better, to want to learn, to want to progress, to want to develop. And if you have that mentality on a day-to-day basis, then very much so over a period of long period of time, you're going to be successful in terms of what you're doing. As I mentioned as well, there's no right or wrong path. Everybody is different. Everybody has their strengths and weaknesses, and sometimes it takes people a lengthy period of time to really understand themselves, understand what they want to do in terms of their life, and get to a comfortable point whereby you feel satisfied and as if you're being challenged in a positive way. Secondly, or another point, don't be scared to take calculated risks in your life. Some examples are moving overseas, and I can talk to a situation in my life where I did that. Calculated risks provide the opportunity to learn from the experience and gain a benefit out of that, a long-term benefit, both in terms of you and your personal development as an individual, but then also the opportunities that they can provide in terms of jobs and career, etc. And lastly, I would say that one key point is to make sure you have balance in your life. So when I say that, a balance across your family, your friends, the time you're spending with them, across the amount of time you're studying, when you're working, across your work and your personal life, also in terms of health and going out is great, but making sure you're living a healthy, fulfilling life as well is vitally important. So the concept of balance in terms of everything that you're doing is an important one. So before I continue, I want to make this as interactive as possible. So I'll see if there's any questions or comments, and if not, then I'll maybe talk you all through a little bit of my experience. You can still hear me?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay.
We'll take up
Perfect.
the questions from the participants later on.
Okay, no problem. Cool. And how long do I have to talk? 5 to 10 minutes, just so I can.
Yes, sir, up to 3:30. You have 20 minutes. Yes, sir.
Oh wow. Okay, long time. Perfect. Okay. So I'll talk everyone through a little bit of my experience and how I've got to where I am, and hopefully you can get some insights from that. So I am originally from Australia, so I was born in Sydney. However, my father is Italian, so I'm quite fortunate in that I have both an Australian and an Italian passport. I very much grew up, in Sydney in a very fortunate capacity in terms of my family life and my school and my upbringing. And I guess when I was leaving, high school to go to university, I wasn't in a position mentally whereby, I had any idea what I wanted to do with myself. I kind of chose a particular course that I had nothing, I knew nothing about, just because it was, the right thing to go to university, and I wanted to go to university. But really, I wasn't, thinking about where I wanted to be, right? So again, I guess, that point, it takes people, different points in their life to really, have a motivated and determined attitude about what you want in terms of your career and your progression. You're moving through university. The course that I studied, it was called resource economics, so kind of economical based course, but also dealing with what's termed agricultural economics as well. But I wasn't very motivated or determined, so I kind of failed my way through a lot of the course, which wasn't good, and I ended up towards the end of my degree, in a position again, not sure of what I was going to do. I had to move from obviously university based life into a full permanent day-to-day working environment, but really I wasn't sure where I was going to end up. Okay. Before I left university, or as I was transitioning, I decided to go on a trip overseas. I went on a trip overseas to South America for 6 weeks, and I think getting out into the world, seeing a different part of the world, different cultures, different environments, especially cultures that are not as well off as your own, and having that perspective of what else is out there in the world, opened my eyes somewhat to both international travel and being able to see different things, and also just makes you a bit more rounded and a bit more rounded in terms of you as an individual and your mental approach to things. So that experience, I think, really helped me, and I moved into the professional working world in Sydney, in Australia. I managed to obtain a job at a what's termed like a retail stockbroking firm, but the job that I was doing was very much in a sort of call center type capacity, answering queries from clients, dealing with those queries. Over a 4-year period, I worked both in sort of the call center capacity and also in what's termed like a sales or business development role. But the job I was doing it wasn't fulfilling. It wasn't interesting. It wasn't challenging. It definitely wasn't where I, in my head thought that I wanted to be. But one thing I realized, very much, from day one when you start to work, is that you really need to be hungry and motivated and determined to want to continue learning, continue progressing. No matter what company you work for, you can make opportunities for yourself by your work ethic and your attitude over a long period of time. And despite, I guess, my lack of motivation, determination at university, when I started working, I very much understood the meaning of having to really work hard to make something of yourself in a particular industry over a long period of time. And so when I was working in this job in Sydney, I decided to start studying the CFA. And if those of you who are aware of what the CFA is meant to represent, it's a very detailed offering in terms of a certification, just because of the volume of the content that you need to learn. So there's a lot of sort of dedication that you need to give to it in terms of the time that you need to spend. So I started studying CFA. I passed level 1 when I was still working in Australia. And again, that sort of opened my eyes to something more related in the finance industry. So I wanted to definitely get out of where I was at in terms of this stockbroking firm, and move more so into the finance industry. And so what I decided to do was to quit my job in Australia and move to the UK, move to London. Now, as I mentioned, I'm quite fortunate. I do have an Italian passport, so coming to the UK in terms of a practical, nature, was straightforward. I could move here. I live here on my Italian passport, and there's no issues in terms of me coming and trying to find a job. But the act of actually, quitting a job in Sydney, coming to the UK without a job and having to find one, that was a lot of effort, a lot of uncertainty. But as I mentioned, calculated risks in your life can have, good, strong rewards. And so after I moved here for, a couple of months and I was searching, very actively for a job, I was fortunate again to obtain a job for a company in what's termed the analytics industry. So analytics is kind of like risk metrics and metrics that portfolio and risk managers will use to manage investment portfolios. So it was a different industry, very, very sort of more technical, savvy type industry that I was able to get a job at in London. But I was not in the position I'm in now. I very much started from the bottom, in terms of both seniority and in terms of the salary that I was obtaining in London. It was a lot lower than the money that I had been earning in Australia. But long term, I knew that this was going to have its benefits. Being in the London market and working in more of a challenging, dynamic, competitive type area. So moving to London had its benefits. It was difficult initially. I think moving away from family and friends and being on the other side of the world wasn't easy at times. That point in particular, when I think about it now, I've lived overseas for 10 years now. And you sacrifice a lot in terms of not seeing family and friends. But again, the sacrifice has been worth it. And so, you have to weigh these things up as you have your own decisions to make in life. So I was working in London for a couple of years, and this job had given me the opportunity to learn different things. I also then completed CFA level 2, which was beneficial as well. And because of the London job market, there's so many good companies, big companies, good opportunities to find something new and different. I was able to find a job for a very large asset management firm, US firm called Capital Group, in London, and moved to that company after being in London for maybe 2.5 years. Jobs sometimes, how do I say, you think they're one thing, but they might not necessarily end up being what you expected them to be. And this job that I moved into with Capital Group was probably along those lines. I probably was very underwhelmed very early on in terms of what my responsibilities were meant to be. So again, I was kind of still searching for something meaningful and what I felt was worthwhile in terms of a job and a career. But after working for this company for 9 months in London, there was an opportunity that they needed for someone to go to Singapore for sort of a 6-month extended business trip. And I think because of my, let's say, vocal and motivated and wanting to get exposure type attitude, I was the one who they chose, and I went to Singapore. So again, a very sort of fortunate opportunity, being able to go to a foreign country that you've never been to before, on behalf of your company is not something that everybody gets to experience. So I was very fortunate that I could do that. I went to Singapore, and it's a great city. Sort of changing a lot in terms of its lifestyle and nightlife. But again, being in a different environment, experiencing a new culture, meeting different people. Really opened your eyes to what else is out there in the world. So living in Singapore was cool. It was good. After the first 6 months of the business trip, it became a permanent move. So I was staying there permanently. But again, still the job that I was doing, I wasn't sort of blown away. I wasn't feeling challenged. It definitely wasn't what I felt I wanted to be doing for a considerable long period of time. but I continued through. I think one thing that you need to have in terms of your life and your job is some patience. You know, there's probably two ends of the spectrum in terms of your career. You can, you know, be in a great company and you can, you know, be there and grow and stay in that company long term. And if that company is doing well, you're going to have opportunities to grow and develop with that into different roles. But also, especially when you're young, it's sometimes good to change and do different things. And if the company that you're working for is not giving you those opportunities, then you need to look elsewhere. But again, you want a balance. You don't want to be in a position whereby you are chopping and changing jobs all the time, you know, every year or every 18 months to 2 years. It's too frequent. You need to have an element of patience and perseverance in terms of the situation that you're in. So I sort of, you know, stayed in this role in Singapore for a couple of years, I needed to get out. I knew that I had a lot more to offer. I needed to be in a more competitive, dynamic, challenging type environment. And fortunately, when I had lived in London, I had, you know, been in contact with some people from BlackRock, and I reached out to them when I was in Singapore. They were still in London, and had a round of interviews, and again, very fortunately, they offered me a job from, you know, Singapore back to London, and sort of started a role in London with BlackRock 4.5 years ago. You know, and I think you'll find in life and the companies you work for, and you'll know whether a company is the right fit for you, and also whether it will offer you the, you know, both personal and professional development that you want over a long period of time. And very much, you know, from my, you know, initial days in BlackRock, I knew that was the place. So, you know, in terms of a company that I want to work for, and you know, provides very good, challenging, you know, career opportunities, but also is a you know, very sort of you know, family orientated and sort of professional or life skills sort of growth driven environment is the firm that I work for now, BlackRock. So I'm again, you know, quite fortunate, and you know, I would say over the past, you know, few years now, I now have a very, you know, meaningful and substantial you know, role and job and responsibility that I am, you know, very sort of happy that I now have. But as I've sort of, you know, talked to you all about, that took me a long time to get to that point. So, you know, having perseverance, having determination, you know, working through the challenges that you have, you know, sometimes is not easy. And I think the element of, you know, sort of, you know, grit and being able to work through things and not giving up is something that, you know, will be beneficial for you all, you know, be it in your personal lives or your professional lives. I work on you know, very large scale, what's termed implementation projects for a technology or investment management platform that we sell to, you know, very large asset managers in Europe, but also globally. I now manage a team of 10 people in Europe, and it's great to work with younger people and be able to, you know, understand what work opportunities, what exposure they want in their lives, and being able to help them gain those types of opportunities. I really enjoy. So yeah, I would just you know, hopefully that's useful in terms of my experience. And I'll just reiterate, I think that you know, you need to have you know, a motivated, determined attitude to want to grow, to want to be successful, to want to find good exposure opportunities in terms of your life. You know, having a global view in terms of, you know, traveling, seeing different things in the world, having different experiences, having a different perspective on other people that are out there in the world, you know, really allows you to you know, have a global view in terms of everything that you do in your life. You know, never stop, you know, wanting to learn and to develop and to grow. We should always be trying to, you know, evolve ourselves, you know, mentally, physically, you know, the relationships that we have. I think if you're thinking about things that way, then over a long period of time, you'll definitely end up being, you know, successful in both your professional and your personal lives. So I'll just I'll leave it there. I think I've talked for a while, but happy to take any comments or questions now if that's allowed.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nicholas, sir, for your warm words. Yeah, exactly. The key of anything to achieve is patience, according to you. And to getting into the right shoes, you have to try many. That we can conclude from your words.
Sure.
So thank you so much for giving this advices, and we will definitely keep this in our mind.
Very good.
And for the further questions, in the last, we have a session where the students can ask the query, and we will get to you in that session.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. For the third session, we have Dr. Smita Srivastava, Assistant Professor, Ascent, MET University, Lucknow. I invite Dr. Smita ma'am to the forum and request her to take the discussion to the conclusion.
Smita ma'am will be joining in 5 minutes, so I request the participants to wait.
Okay.
Ma'am has joined, Chiranjeev.
You just have to wait for 1 to 2 minutes for listening to the golden words from the ma'am.
Good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
I want to switch on my video. It says you cannot start your video. Let me just check.
Kindly check ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, very good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible and visible to everyone?
A very
Yes,
good
ma'am.
afternoon,
You are
ma'am. You are
audible.
visible.
Okay, perfect. So today we'll be discussing on the life skills and career growth. Yes, and I will introduce myself. I'm Smita Srivastava. I am assistant professor at Amity University. Looks after a department which is ASCENT. That's Amity School of Communication, Enhancement and Transformation. Right, so we basically deal with the employability skills of the students, and the moment I got to know that the topic of today will be the life skills, I was thrilled, because these are the certain qualities and these are the certain skills that we want our students to imbibe when we prepare them for placements. So without delaying more, I would want to start with my presentation here. Am I allowed to share my screen now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay. I'll be just sharing my screen. Give me a second. Is my screen visible, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Okay, okay. Let's begin. Now, we'll talk about the life skills and career growth. And before I start this, I would want to tell you all that these are the two aspects. That's life skills. Life skills basically helps you in improvising your career and helps you to achieve your career. Whatever career you have planned for yourself, it helps you in achieving the same. So basically, life skills and career growth helps you in dealing with everyday issues, with everyday challenge that you face at your workplace. Now, we'll talk about that how these skills, now how these skills helps, or probably how it affected the employability ratio because of this COVID. As I'm sure you all will agree with me, that's a renowned fact and everyone is totally aware about it, that because of this coronavirus outbreak, this coronavirus had, unexpectedly hit the industries all together in 360 degree. We saw the sales going up and we saw the sales going down, and we experienced the huge slump in the industries. Many companies, many organizations were forced to shut down because of this coronavirus. Now, the data, the figures are not very pleasing, but that's the fact. So we must admit the same, that 1.25 billion workers in different sectors were declined, had a severe decline in terms of the employability. 2.7 billion workers, they were badly affected, because of the partial and fully lockdowns. And 1.6 billion workers were struggling for their bread and butter, for their livelihood. And 60% of the workers, that's 2 billion, global workforce, were extremely vulnerable and they are still under the economic shock, and they cannot come up with that. And 42% of women and 32% of male workers, they are at high risk in the informal economy. We have seen these vendors, we have seen these grocery shop people. What are they doing? They are at a heavy loss. They still can't cope up with the loss that they had from past 2 years. Coming to the next slide. And the situation is extremely alarming. There is no deny with this. Okay, now we'll talk about the job landscape. Job landscape, I have just discussed with you about the COVID, and I also want to add on to what I just said, that COVID had a significant impact on everyone's life. There's no deny with the fact that everyone's life has changed with complete 360 degree. And because of this COVID and because of this Industry 4.0, the double disruption of the jobs occurred. The data is right in front of you, wherein 85 million jobs were decreased. The job demand was decreased, right? The jobs like data entry clerks, business service administrator managers, general operation managers, mechanics, repairers, right? The jobs have a severe decline there. But 97 million jobs are still growing in different industries like data analysts, scientists, big data specialists, software developers, Internet of Things specialists, digital transformation specialists. But the eye-opener is that you need not to have only the technical skills. With the technical skills, it is important for a worker, for a fresher to reskill their attributes, right? You may see the data, you may see that half of all the workers is needed to reskill themselves. They're already equipped, they're already skilled, they already have technical knowledge. But unfortunately, now that will not be sufficient, especially the 4.0, the transformation that has come in the industry. It's a high time that we need to reskill ourselves. Now, coming to the next slide, it is important for everyone to know that why are we gathered here? Why are we here? What is the objective of both of us meeting together? Because I do agree with you, and I do have an opinion, like I'm sure everyone, because this is not a very interactive session, so I would want to ask you all, but I'm sure that most of you are confused about which way to go, where to go. Should I choose career A? Should I choose career B? Should I choose career C? There are so many options available in the market, which one to choose and which one to leave, right? So that's called the career exploration. You need to explore your career. You need to, you need to judge that which career do you really need to adopt. Along with that, career planning is important. When you plan your career, we always tell our students that when you plan your career, it is important for you to do a self-analysis. It is important for you to introspect yourself and ask yourself, who am I? What exactly do I want to achieve? Where am I going? Am I going have I chosen a correct way? Am I going to a correct path? If yes, go ahead. If no, if you have even a 1% doubt, come back. You don't have to choose a way on which you yourself is not very confident enough, right? So these are the questions that you have to ask yourself. Who am I? Where am I headed? In case I have decided my path, so is this path perfect for me? Or if it is perfect, and how am I going to approach? Right? So these are the questions that you must ask yourself before you head to any direction. Yeah. So come to the next slide that says, because we spoke about the career, we spoke about what exactly do you want to choose and how do you want to choose, and you need to introspect yourself. So let's talk about the career planning. So when we talk about the career planning, it is important. It is initially you must understand that when you plan your career, you don't even plan your career on a copy or a pen or a notebook or a pen, right? All you need to do is, when you plan your career, you plan a career path for yourself. You plan a goal for yourself. You set a goal for yourself, right? And it provides you a clear future. All it happens is, when you have done a basic planning, things are clear right in front of you. Everything is crystal clear. Everything is like, you know that this is the hurdles and these are the barriers I may have, but it's okay. This is something that I have chosen. I have to keep working. So that is how the career planning has to be done. It is very important because it provides you the goal. It provides you the path, right? And obviously it gives you a clear picture about where exactly you are headed. Then you have a clear planning, right? So a clear planning is 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 something that comes, as a complementary, right? A clear planning is important, and it motivates you. It's a kind of self motivation. When I have planned my career, I don't want anyone to motivate me, because I'm self motivated, because that's how I have chosen my career. That's how I picked my career. So motivational things or self motivation or self analysis happens automatically, right? And of course, when you have planned your career, when the career is clear in front of you, trust me, it adds a lot of value to yourself, and it adds a lot of competencies in your personality for the higher level jobs. Planning is not something that probably you must have got, or you may get a job in any of the organization, and you are very satisfied here, right? So being satisfied means that you don't plan for your career further. If you are not satisfied, which means the planning is still needed. So when you plan your career, you develop your competencies automatically. Your competencies develop because you plan that this is not where I have to stop. I have to go ahead for the higher level jobs. And how may I proceed for the higher level jobs? If I have planned my career, if I know that this is where I have to achieve, if I have added few capabilities, if I've self-analyzed myself, if I know my competencies, then sky is the limit. Yeah. So when you plan your career, you should know your values, your behavior, your situations, the kind of individual you are. You learn about yourself, right? There are people who may tell you that the kind of person you are, but don't think about and don't listen to anyone. You should learn a lot about yourself. Self-analysis is very important. You can't ignore this fact. Identify your skills. Every individual has its own set of skills, right? So you need to analyze your skills, you need to identify your skills, you need to search for various options, research. We always tell our students, we always tell the professionals coming these days, or the youngsters, that it is important for you to do a thorough research before you choose your career, right? Because after working in an organization for 2 years, you cannot say that no, this is not something that I have planned myself for, right? So you must do a thorough research and link your major and your career, in the sense that if you thought that I would want to pursue my career in the hotel industry, then do some kind of certification course, do something that adds value to the course. If you feel that no, the certification course probably may not be enough for me, right? So probably you may go ahead and do any kind of degree courses related to the hospitality industry. So don't play with your career. Link your career with certain majors, link your career with certain certification courses, do a thorough research, identify your skills, learn about yourself, and after learning yourself, after learning your abilities, after doing a thorough research, think that if this is the path I want to go ahead, please go ahead. That these are the basic planning that you must do before proceeding in your career. Coming to the next slide. Okay, that's career guidance. Why is career guidance important? It is important because it helps you in shifting from your general understanding. General understanding means we are happy in our own domain. We don't want to learn anything new, right? So when you have the exact career guidance in your life, it basically shifts from your general understanding of life and work, then mastering the skills, right? And when you master the skills, you are well equipped. You are ready to face the challenge at your workplace, in your personal life, professional life, in every position. You may see in the career guidance, you may see that there are certain bubbles there. Abilities means the strength that you have in yourself. Education, the success, perseverance. Are you somebody who give up early? Learning, are you a keen learner? Do you learn throughout? Leadership skills, do you have those leadership skills in yourself, right? The kind of reputation that you have developed with your co-workers, the kind of contacts that you have, hardworking. Is your resume good enough? Is your resume strengthened enough? Does your resume have that kind of gravity? How knowledgeable you are? Do you only have a bookish knowledge, or do you have knowledge other than that? The job experience. So these things makes you a perfect individual when you prepare your career, and these nuggets, these bubbles will help you and guide you, right? I may be a very good individual. If my resume is not in place, probably I may not be a fit candidate for any profile, for any of the job requirement in any of the industry, right? So we always, push students. We always tell students that writing something or saying something will never solve any purpose. If you say that I have certain abilities, prove those abilities. You say that you have the leadership skills, prove your leadership skills. So these nuggets, these bubbles will tell you, and they probably may guide you that how are you going to pursue your career, right? So that is the career guidance all about. Let's move on to the next slide. That's the purpose of life skills. See, we all might need these life skills wherever we are, wherever we go in the near future. This is something that your survival is nearly impossible without this life skills. So when we talk about the purpose, you have to understand that basically the purpose of these life skills is to find new ways of thinking and solving problems. Problem is something may come to everyone's life, and we have to struggle with those problems, right? But the new ways, the way you are dealing with the problem, the way you are, the kind of confidence you have in yourself, the kind of ability that you have, whether it's working in a team, or whether playing in a team, or maybe working individually. So these are what? These are basically your life skills. And let me tell you that I have observed many a times that especially the youngsters, they are not very good with dealing with the problems, dealing with the situation. At times you feel that you have your faculties, you have your parents with you. So taking responsibility is something that you don't want to take, right? Unless and until, yes, you don't have any other options, then obviously you do have to take. But at times, the youths, the new generation people are not very responsible. they don't want to take the responsibility. So this is how the life skills will make lot of difference in your career, in your future, because it helps you in developing your social skills, the basic etiquettes, work ethics. Work ethics is not something that probably your school teachers must have taught you, or you must have been taught in your college. Work ethics is something that comes when you work with so many people around, learning various interviewing skills, basic communication, listening to somebody very actively, being confident, and of course speaking in public. Yeah, we are very good in giving opinions to one, but when it comes to speaking on a public platform, there is some kind of fear, right? So these life skills are basically a savior, right? That will help you to achieve your career, or that probably will help you in achieving whatever you have thought of for your life, right? So these are the basic objective, these are the basic purpose of the life skills, right? Coming to the next slide. Okay. Now, these are the top 10 life skills recommended by WHO. You all must be thinking, why WHO? World Health Organization, and we understand the situation we all are in. Not even a day goes when we don't wear masks, we don't carry a sanitizer, we maintain social distancing, right? So now is the time for us to understand, because we have taken our health always for granted. Now, because our health is our wealth, so we must understand, because it is being recommended by WHO, that these are the top 10 life skills that is very important and that any individual must abide, right? That is problem solving. Problem solving skills is what? See, everyone need to understand that problem will come. There is no other way out that you get rid of the problems. How you easily solve a problem, right? And without kind of making more complicated issues, how easily you solve a problem, how beautifully you are taking the decision. When you take a decision, you are seeing the pros and cons, you see the loss, you see the profit, you see the risk involved, you kind of involve the best person around you, right? So that is called the decision making abilities. Critical thinking means how innovative you are, how creative you are, how creative and how beautifully you are exploring your ideas and method. That is called critical thinking. Empathy is to understand the opinion of the other person. We do understand that we Indians are very sensitive, right? And being empathetic is going in the shoes of the other person, right? You may be a very wealthy person, you may be a very disciplined person, but if you don't know how to empathize with the other person, everything goes on a toss, right? So you need to be very empathetic, very polite and down to earth. Good communication is a need of an hour. If you can't express yourself, if you can't express your feelings, if you can't communicate with somebody, then probably it will be a challenge for you, right? Management of emotions means, how am I getting rid of the negative emotion? Because negative is something that structs your mind on a very first go, right? So how beautifully you are dealing with your negative emotions, right, is something the management of emotions is all about. Creative thinking is out of box thinking. Everyone is thinking from the same angle. How is your thought process different from the others is what creative thinking is all about. Self-awareness, as I have told you initially also, self-awareness is having good knowledge about yourself, how well you know yourself, right? There'll be people judging you, there'll be people telling you a lot about you, right? So it does not matter what others think of yourself. What matters is what you think of yourself. So self-awareness is very important. Interpersonal relationship, how beautifully you gel with the other person, how you maintain a relationship with the other person. Are you very reserved, or are you somebody who believes in, interacting with everyone. That's called the interpersonal relationship. Management of stress is something that comes free when you are professional. Trust me, stress is something that you can never get rid of. Yeah. So how you're managing your stress is again one of a very important aspect of a life skill, because if you don't know how to manage stress, survival in the industry will be a slightly difficult for you. Yeah. And I just want to add something more, that these days the pattern of the interviews totally change. You know what, the interviewers do ask you stressful questions these days at the time of interview. They ask you stressful questions because they would want to know how beautifully you can handle stress, right? So they put you under pressure and they see the kind of reaction that you're going to give. So that's called the stress management. You need to manage your stress when you want to be or you want to be professional, you want to work in a good organization, you want to make your career, you want to be professional. So these are certain life skills. Imbibe yourself, and trust me, there is no power that can stop you to achieve whatever you have thought of in your life. Moving on to the next slide. Okay. Now, these are the 10 skills that are hard to earn, but pay off forever. I love this line, that pay you off forever, right? So time management is not something that can be taught. Time management is something that you have to do it on yourself. And these are certain skills that, trust me, as it is written, it will pay off forever. Yes, it will pay off forever. You should know how to manage your time. You should know that how are you distributing your work, how do you manage your work, what time you have allotted to what task. Is being in the shoes of the other person. Somebody is in a need of help, or somebody is not in a good state, right? So you need to be empathetic towards the person, because today the problem has come to the person, tomorrow it might come to you. So being empathetic is something that is very important. Mastering your sleep. If you had a good sleep, you are fresh enough, things will go up fresh. Positive self-talk means it is important for yourself, for you to talk to yourself. Keep motivating yourself. Keep telling yourself that this is no rocket science. I have recently learned this skill of self-talk, right? Consistency means be there. Don't leave, don't give up the hope, right? Don't do anything that you feel that, no, I cannot do. This is something that is beyond me. No, don't do that. Be there. Keep doing the work. Never give up. Asking for help is something that I would want to stress more on here, that these days, especially the youngsters, they are really hesitant of asking for help. They feel that if I ask for help, people will think that probably I don't know this. Probably they will have a doubt on me, right? So they don't ask for help. They feel that probably if I ask for help, I may show my incompetency. Never ever think about this. Asking for help means you are open. In the sense, you are open to take help from anyone, and there is nothing wrong in that, right? Knowing when to stop talking. This is one ability, right, that will pay off forever in your life. God has given us one mouth and 2 ears, right? So 2 ears is to listen more, and one mouth is to talk less. Talk nice, talk appropriate, talk logical, talk relevant. Don't talk for the sake of talking, because when you talk for the sake of talking, at times you tend to talk something that you should not, right? So knowing when to stop is one ability that that one must learn, and the best is the quicker you learn and the better it is, right? This is one ability that should be learned from today itself. Listening actively. when we have the lectures in the class, there are people who just listen, but there are people who actively listen. So when you are actively listening, the one thing that you may always do is, in case you have a doubt that I missed something, always remember that, translate the same thing in your own words and cross check the same with the speaker. Actively listening means repeating the same thing of the speaker. This way you will doubly check that whatever you are speaking is correct, that whatever you have heard is not wrong, which is absolutely correct. So listening actively plays a lot of important role. Minding your business. Why to strike my nose to somebody else's business? Why to do that? No, you have a lot of work for yourself. You have a lot to do. Why am I bothered about somebody else? Why am I bothered about what the other person is doing, what the other person is not doing, and why is he not given the task, and why am I given all the task, right? So minding your business is one skill that it is better for you to learn at the age you are in, right? Otherwise, tomorrow when you will be professionals, it will be difficult for you to survive in the industry, because there will be so many people around you who will be checking on you, who will be not concentrating on their work and concentrating more on your work, right? So this is one skill that you must imbibe in yourself, that mind your own business, work what is important, do your thing, and don't worry about what others think and what others do. Mastering your thoughts. Mastering your thoughts means if I have certain skills, I have to master those skills, right? I don't have to, exaggerate my problems. I have to understand that if this is something that I have thought of, right? Am I going in the right way? Yes, I am going in the right way. So this is how I master my thoughts. I don't give the remote control of my thought to anyone else, in simple words. So you have to master your thoughts. You have to think that what is right and what is wrong. If you have decided something, you have given your logical approach to that particular issue or particular problem, you may not needed any kind of guidance, but the thought should be good, the thought should be correct, right? So that is how mastering your own thoughts, wherein you give the remote control of your thought to yourself, not to anyone else. Yes. Now I'll just move on to the next slide, which is, okay. Now, this is the crux of all the life skills, right? Targeting life skills. It has 4H. The 4H is heart, hand, head, and health. Heart, let's start with the heart. Heart, how you relate, how you care, right? Nurturing relationships, sharing your ideas, being empathetic, concern about others, right? Accepting the differences, conflict. No organization is complete without conflict, trust me. Right? How you deal with the conflict is more important. Social skills, how beautifully you are behaving when you are surrounded. Cooperation, your basic communication, right? That's something related to directly with your heart. Then is your hand. Hand means giving, working. When you give, you are giving the community service, you are connected with the NGOs, right? You have the leadership skills, you are a responsible citizen, you have the contribution to the effort, you have the marketing skills, you have team building skills, you are self-motivated. So these are the hands which are working, which are giving. And then comes to the health. When we talk about health, health means being and living. When we call about being means self-esteem, self-responsibility, the character, managing feelings, self-disciplined, right? Now living is healthy lifestyle, the stress management, disease prevention, personal safety. So these are the health, how you are living with that health, how you are being with your health. And then comes to the head. That's very important. Your thinking abilities, your service learning, your critical thinking, your problem solving attributes, your decision making attributes, how keen learner you are, what are the abilities that you have when it comes to thinking, right? And then comes to the managing. Managing means how you are managing your goal, how you are managing your organization, how you are managing your work resource, right? So these are the things, keeping records, so, and resiliency, that these things are very important when you are kind of managing in your head. So keeping records is something how that tells about how beautiful coordinator you are, right? How beautifully you are utilizing the resources, right? Resiliency is that probably how quickly you come up with the difficult problems, right? Problems, I told you, may come up, may go, that, but how you are dealing with the problems makes a lot of sense. Your thinking abilities, the way you are living, the way you are being, the way you are working, you are giving your hands to the society or to the group, the heart that you have, which is very caring and very relating, right? So these are the targeted life skills. Now, when we incorporate these target life skills with our career, right? Trust me, your survival in the industry will not be for 1 or 2 years. You may be there. See, getting a job is not difficult, but sustaining in that job is difficult. It's something that you must know as a student. Getting a job means what? You may have so many companies coming up, and there'll be so many designation, there's so many profile. You all are well equipped with your technical knowledge, and I'm sure God willingly you will have a lot of life skills also in you. But sustaining that job with the life skills make a lot of difference to you as an individual. Yeah. So thank you so much, everyone. um, I am done with it. So anyone has anything to ask, please do ask. Priyanshi, am I visible or audible to you?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for these wonderful words and the importance of life skill in our life that you gave
Thank you,
to us.
Priyanshi.
Really, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, dear.
Yes, ma'am. Like now, I would like to say to all the friends that it's time to open the forum for question answers. I invite participants to put forward their query to the experts. They will be happy to share their views. For this, I request all of you to please write the query in the chat box, and they will really happy to answer these questions. So let's wait for 2 minutes for the questions. And like, just like we are waiting, so guys, did you notice the pattern we have with our speakers? Komati ma'am, tell us how we have to mold ourselves, the importance of mentors.
Priyanshi, you asked me something. Could you please repeat your question? I'm sorry, I missed it.
How we have to learn the things. Yes, ma'am, we are getting the questions from the student. We will get to you when we collect all the students' questions. It's a question for you, as I'm also a student. I hope you are listening and I'm audible to you. Ma'am, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, Priyanshi.
Like, I'm also a first year student, and the
Yes.
life skills you
Priyanshi, your voice cracked again.
Tell
And
us. I have a question. Tell us.
Go ahead. Priyanshi, please go ahead.
Okay, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I was asking that the life skills that you tell us, and the most important, the time management, patience, minding our own business, these are not easy. We try it as a student. We try it. We did it for 2 days, 3 days, and then again we go back to our normal track. So how to make it consistent?
That's a very sweet question, Priyanshi. Trust me. These are the skills that probably will you can't learn these skills from book. You can't be learning these skills from anywhere. These are the skills that you must have to abide in yourself and keep practicing the same, right? Patience. Patience is something that you have to practice daily, right? There are certain tricks, there are certain tips it to you, but practicing is something that you have to do it from your side, right? So the only mantra is keep practicing. You need to understand that the life skills that I have just told you will help you in your survival in the industry. Now, gone are the days when you used to tell the interviewer that I have got good team building skills. Now they don't get satisfied with the answer that you've got good team building skills. They ask you to prove those skills. So similarly, if you say that I'm a very patient individual, will not help you at all. You need to prove that you have the patience, right? And this will only come the more you practice, the better it is.
Yes, ma'am.
The next question is for Nicholas, sir. It's from YouTube. How do we have this question from Nicholas, sir? He's asking, sir, what made you realize that this job is something you want to do? How you got to know that this is something that brings you satisfaction, and you want to settle down to this?
If I want to choose my career, example that I always wanted to go in the teaching profession. I was a trainer altogether, right? So teaching is my passion, training is my passion, and I got to know 10 years back, right? When you can't think about anything else than teaching, than training, and this is something that this is one of the insight that comes within. No one can force you for the same, right? If I had the interest in cooking, then no one can force me that hospitality industry is the industry made for me. I have to choose it, because I cannot be a good chef if I choose to be in the fashion industry, right? So these two industries are poles apart, right? So similarly, you need to understand, that's what I told you, that self-analysis is something that is very important. No matter what people say, no matter where you want to go, no matter there are so many distractions are there around you, think about yourself, understand that what exactly do I need to be, and which path should I choose. So this is the self-analysis. This is not something that probably people will tell you. You have to understand. You need to understand your passion. You need to understand that which way or which career, which path you have to choose. So this is what the introspection is all about, self-realization. And it should come at the stage you all are in, students.
Nicholas, sir, can you please answer the same question?
Sure, happy to. I think to the point of the doctor, so over time you realize where your strengths lie, what your skills are, and what you're really interested in. And I think part of the process of coming to that realization is the journey, right? And you have to enjoy and participate in the journey of learning, of progressing, of developing, and you come to a point whereby you know what you're good at, you know where your strengths are, you know the areas you want to improve on, and sort of lining up your job and your career with your strengths is also something that takes time. But once you work through that over a lengthy period of time and you get to a position whereby you have a job and you're utilizing the key strengths that you have, then I think you have a sort of self-fulfillment and confidence in terms of the position you're in, that it's meaningful and that you can stay there for a lengthy period of time, and it's what you want to do. So I think to one of the points I made, when you're young, you're not going to necessarily know, but that's fine. It's about trying different things, changing sometimes, and over time you will start to get that realization.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Priyanshi, over to you for the next question.
Yeah. There is one more question for Nicholas, sir. Actually, someone has directly DM it to me. Nicholas sir, it's a question that you talked about the taking calculated risk.
Sure.
So how to do that with no professional experience?
I mean, you really need to think things through in a logical, practical manner in terms of a potential type of decision that you have to make that may be some form of a risk, right? I think one of the points that was mentioned in the presentation was around having a mentor, right? And a mentor can be anybody. It can be in a formal capacity through a university program or through a work program, but it can also be friends and family. And I think if you are in a position whereby you are thinking of taking a calculated risk, and my risk that I was providing was that I quit my job and moved to London, right? And so I had to discuss that with people, and I had some friends who were a bit more older and a bit more experienced, and I asked their advice. They gave me guidance, they gave me information, they sort of helped me understand how I should approach things. So I think if you're thinking through things logically and practically, if you have people that you can talk to about the particular opportunity or decision that you need to make, then you'll be able to make an informed decision, right? As opposed to something that is just off the cuff and spontaneous. It really should be informed in your mind after investigating, after trying to find out as much information about that as possible.
Okay, sir. Smita ma'am, it's a question to you from Amritanshu Kumar Rai. Describe an ethical dilemma you have faced in the workplace. How was it resolved? What was your role in the resolution? What, if anything, would you do differently if you were faced with the same issue again?
Amritanshu, that's a very long question, but I'll try and give you the answer for the same, which is, see, work ethics is something that is not to be taught here. Work ethics is something that you will get to know when you're actually working. Trust me. So when you actually work, there are so many areas, there are so many situations that come up in the organization that you really can't afford to deny with the fact, right? And especially when you are working with so many people around you, not everyone will think the way you think, right? There will be people who are they manipulate the things, and there'll be people who are very rigid. No, I cannot be unethical. This is something that I want to do. I want to do this thing, right? But there'll be something who will say like, it's okay, let it be. It just happens, and let it be. No one sees. It's okay. Let's do something unethical. So this is something that you have to decide at a workplace, right? Whether you have to go ahead with something that is ethically correct, or you may have a situation wherein you just have to change and manipulate the thing. Manipulation is not a very wrong word. That depends upon the situation that you are dealing with, right? So if you think that you are dealing with a situation that a bit of manipulation is accepted, please go ahead and do that. And there are times that I have faced a lot of such situations wherein I have been asked to compromise on certain things that are ethically not correct. I can't tell you the situation here at this platform, but I'll surely drop my email ID, and then probably we can have a conversation more on this. But yes, there are times in the workplace wherein you have been asked to compromise on certain ethical issues. Now, this is, you have to decide that how you want to manage it. But I will always recommend you never ever do anything unethical. It might be accepted once, twice, but if you make this as a habit, then probably sooner or later you will be in the hot soup. So I would not recommend you to do anything that is wrong at a workplace. Be ethical, let others follow you, and when you'll be ethical, trust me, the confidence will come automatically. Otherwise, half of the time you will always be scared. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Amritanshu. And Amritanshu, you asked me to tell you the situation. I have loads of situations, loads of instances, but this is not a platform to discuss.
Yeah, I think he will be satisfied by your answer, ma'am.
I don't know, but yes.
This is a question to Nicholas, sir. Actually, a lot of questions are there related to this. So just summarizing it and asking you in very simple words, Nicholas, sir, as you are the vice president of BlackRock, and it's a dream company of many students. So what are the ideal characteristics of a candidate? Like, you are in that field and we are the engineers who work to get in that company. So what do you want from us?
Sure. That's a very good question. I think the way that you should think of like BlackRock as an organization is one that is very much always at the forefront of evolution and change. So always looking at what's happening in the industry, but leading and making decisions and changing our operating model, our products, our technology platform, etc. So a constant sort of evolution of what we offer. So in terms of individuals who come to work at BlackRock, very much a mentality around looking at processes and technology and how you can use those to adapt and to change. So very much BlackRock is while it's an asset management firm, it's also a what we would consider a sort of technology company. So people who are able to come in with a fresh mindset, with an innovative mindset, who can look at processes and problems and automation and think about them in a different way, using different programming languages or as such, or different things that you learn in your courses on engineering, for sure. Then by all means, that type of profile is very sort of appropriate, I would say. Hopefully that was helpful.
Yes, sir. So there is a question from our dearest and respected ma'am, Dr. Anubhuti ma'am, to you. What are the skills most necessary one should look out before moving across globally for work? I should repeat.
Was that for me?
Yes, sir. It's for you.
Sorry.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Apologies. It really depends. It would really depend upon the industry that you're in. I think that's a tough question, because I think depending upon the stage of your life and the stage of your career, the level of skills and knowledge that you have around a particular topic or area or industry or type of job is going to be different. I would just say that whatever you're interested in terms of pursuing a career, you should really make sure you have a good, thoughtful, comprehensive knowledge base around particular topic areas that would be relevant for an industry, right? So my example was when I moved to London, having a good foundational knowledge in finance concepts that I could then apply to the analytics job that I got. So it very much depends, but I think the key point for me is that if you are moving overseas and you move to a big city, there's going to be opportunities, right? And it's about having a proactive attitude to go out there, talk to recruiters, talk to people, network with other people in the industry, through LinkedIn or through these platforms, and really sort of just have a hungry attitude about trying to find a new and different and challenging type opportunity.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much for your words. Dipali Singh, I hope you have also got your answer. Your question is very similar to Anubhuti ma'am. So now it's a question for Kaumudi ma'am. Sometimes rigidity is inevitable. How to mold to being fruitful then?
Yeah, so rigidity is actually not a positive attribute at all, because being adaptive and flexible will help you to accommodate and be a member of the team in which you are working. So when you are, even if you are a member of a class or you're working in an organization, it's always advisable that you are open to opinions, and being rigid at your workplace or even in your personal space will not help you transform into a better human being. So I advise and I highly recommend flexibility both at workplace and on personal grounds.
Okay, ma'am. Now it's a question to Smita ma'am, that how can we figure out that the thing that we are doing for our career is going to be fruitful? It's a risky question, I guess.
Exactly. My answer will remain the same, because you all are professionals now. You all have done, almost about to finish your BTech, or probably the first semester students. You all have opted for BTech because you have thought of something. Now, after reaching in your 6th semester, 7th semester, if you say, oh my Lord, why did I choose BTech? I shouldn't have. I wanted to go in the hotel industry. I wanted to go in the fashion industry. I wanted to go in the retail industry. Then it will be too late for you to understand, right? So similarly, if you have chosen this as a career, you must have thought something. Similarly, after doing your BTech, it is important for you to do anything that will probably help you in adding to your career, which is why we always, I as a faculty, as a professor, I always recommend my students that do not get satisfied only with the degree that you have it in your hand after qualifying your 7th semester or 8th semester. Once you've got a job, that's not the end of the journey, right? Which is why it is important the students of your age to do a lot of certification course. It adds, not only adds value in your resume, but adds loads of knowledge in you as a person also. So tomorrow when you go for your internship, tomorrow when you go for your projects, what happens? You kind of imbibe the skills that you have, imbibe these skills that you have learned through your certification course in the internship that you do. And after gaining the experience in your internship or projects, when you actually go for on job, you kind of add a lot of experience there also. So similarly, it is all interlinked. Now this is the right time for you to realize, did you choose the right career? Because now you have entered in your professional field. You are doing your BTech, you are in the first semester or whichever semesters, right? You must have thought something before entering in the field. Now if you go back, please understand, it's not only the waste of money, it's always the waste of time also. So similarly, whatever happened. Now, whatever you are going to choose further in your career, please think about it. Plan yourself. See what's your passion. See what's your interest. Introspect yourself. Do I have these abilities? Do I have these skills? Or am I doing something because my cousin is doing? Because I'm doing something because my uncle is pressurizing me or my parents are pressurizing me? So this is something that you have to do it on you have to introspect, you have to, this is the homework that you do it on your own. There's nobody on this planet that can help you, right? So self analysis is the analysis that you must do before you proceed to any career in your life. So I can only guide you, but that's you are the first one who have to take the decision without getting influenced from anyone. Who asked this question?
Ma'am, this was a question from a CSE student, Anjali. I guess she's not here right now.
Anjali.
Yes, ma'am.
Anjali asked this question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I hope, Anjali, I gave the answer better. The only thing, Anjali, you can do is after this session, take at least 1 hour for yourself. You have so much time for others. Just sit for some time with you, with no one around you, and think that what exactly do I want to do after finishing my BTech? Or do I still have some other option available? If no, then what is my plan further? If no, then what else can I do along with the BTech? 4 years, do I really want to do BTech, or can I think from a different angle that probably help me later, or probably that I can do parallelly? So these are things that you have to work on yourself, Anjali. You may always take my help or any professional's help. We are always there. But this homework is something that you have to do it. Yeah?
Yes, ma'am. Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. I will apologize to the students whose questions are not taken because we are out of time. And I would like to say thanks, and please everyone write the feedback form. And now coming to the thanks to vote, I would like to extend my heartfelt appreciation on the behalf of all students of FOET for today's session. I thank Professor Madhurima Pradhan, Director CGC, for such a useful event for students. We would indeed be benefited by current event and future events of CGC. I would thank all the speakers for today's wonderful session as well. Kaumudi ma'am, Mr. Nicholas Simalatu sir, Dr. Smita Srivastav ma'am, big thanks to you all for your views. I would like to thank my teachers, Dr. Anupam Kumar Tripathi sir, Engineer Kamlesh Tiwari sir, for this patronage and direction. Last but not the least, a big thanks to Dr. Sabyasachi sir for giving me this opportunity to host this event. Thank you so much and stay safe and healthy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Priyanshi. And thank you all the guests. I apologize for my absence throughout the whole event. I don't know, something happened with my network and I went offline. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Nicholas. Thank you, Dr. Smita. Thank you, Ms. Kaumudi. It was really nice hearing you three. Hope to hear you soon again.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you very much.
Thank you, Priyanshi.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, everyone. And stay safe. God bless you.
Thank you.
Have a lovely day. Bye.
You too. And there are a few questions that I will be mailing you all, and would like to get a response for it, and then we will transfer those response to the students concerned.
Absolutely. Thank
Right?
you so much.
Thank you so much for taking out time for this event. I hope students must have got a few points to note. Thank you, everyone. Stay safe, stay healthy.